Hello everyone, Blitz here. The second movie I've been waiting for this year, and the day has finally arrived. The first movie of the Demon Slayer Infinity Castle arc trilogy. And I have to say, and I'm sorry for my language, this movie is so fucking amazing. They went all out on this movie. The action is over the top, great. The animation is beautiful, and the backstories are heartbreaking. And before I get into the review, I will go into spoiler territory, so watch at your own risk. Unless you already know from reading the manga. My review will go about into everything, the characters, the stories, backstories, and I'll go over my favorite things in the movie, and some things I don't like. This movie is 2 hours and 35 minutes long, so any characters you know and love are not going to survive. A certain amount of characters get attention in this movie, and everyone's favorite demon gets focused on in this movie. Before I get into talking about it, characters like Nezuko, Inosuke, Sanemi, Mauricio, Guillaume, Genya, Mitsuri, Obanai, Tengen, Muzan, and Upper One are not the main focus of the movie. They do have some scenes and have a few lines. Everyone but Nezuko fights a few demons, weak ones. Nezuko is in the real world, slowly transforming back into a human. Muzan is in a cocoon, recovering from the attack from Lady Tamio and Guillaume. And Upper One, I don't know his name, is standing still in a random part of the Infinity Castle, Oro farming. He's just standing there pretty much. Everyone oral farms in this movie, except the new Upper Six. Inosuke is running around in the castle, poking the birds, telling them to find the strongest demon for him to fight. All he do is running around. Genya is also running around with his American breathing shotgun, killing weak demons and trying to look for his brother. Sanemi is on a moving platform, killing demons and yelling at them, telling them on where the upper ranks are. Guillaume and Mauricio are just running around together in a random part of the castle, and Mauricio is reflecting on his past and asking Guillaume on what happened to the master, and him saying he didn't have much time left and sacrificed himself to stop Michael Jackson, Muzan, but it failed. Mitsuri and Obanai are together in a random part of the castle fighting weak demons, and Mitsuri is just admiring Obanai. All these characters are just running around in the castle fighting demons and trying to make sense of their surroundings, of things changing, except Inosuke. He doesn't care about his surroundings and what's going on. And the other characters are the lower rank members of the Demon Slayer Corps, confused and scared but brave, fighting the weak demons for the Hashira so they can take on the powerful ones. Now with that out of the way, the characters that are the main players throughout the movie are Tanjiro, Giyu, Zenitsu, Kanao, Shinobu, Kagaya's kids, the new Upper Six, Doma, and everyone's favorite demon, Akusai. There are moments in the movie where a cut to the Demon Slayer Corps, Kagaya's kids, who are helping in the real world using the Demon Slayer crows, seeing through their eyes a vision thing mapping out the castle and feeding information to the others about the battles and where the powerful demons are, while the other members react calmly and scared. It's little moments that I like waiting for the big stuff. Tengen and Rengoku's father is outside guarding them, so proud of them. Tengen has the small talk, and Rengoku's father is worried about them. They are kids thrown in a difficult situation, but they are not childish. And thinking about his son Rengoku, to me, the look in his eyes say he's thankful to Tanjiro for showing him the light and get to believe in something again. Kagaya's son struggles to keep it together. Then he is visited by his father's ghost or apparition to tell him that he's stronger than he realized. So he continues on, and sometime later, his sister almost breaks down, but he tells her there's no time for that. They have to do this for the Demon Slayers. The movie starts off with Kagaya talking to Guillaume about his plan and doesn't want any more of his children to die to Muzan. And Guillaume is walking through a cemetery of the fallen Demon Slayers with the master's words echoing through his mind. Then it cuts to them falling through the Infinity Castle and focuses on Tanjiro falling and Giyu saving him at the last minute. And Tanjiro is just praising him and has a giant smile on his face, and Giyu just has a deadpan expression on his face, probably regretting saving him. He's giving off Big Brother vibes. Let's get into the first act or major battle, Shinobu versus Doma. Doma was the one demon I've been waiting for the most in action. Ever since they gave him that cool entrance in Season 3, Shinobu was walking around the castle until she stumbles across Doma eating people and was surprised to find out she was a girl. and gave her an elegant greeting. It gave her flashbacks to when her sister was killed by Doma. She was scared, panicked, and angry, asking her who did this to her. Shinobu's sister wanted her to live a normal life, but she couldn't, and wanted to get revenge for her. And it cuts back to them face to face. A girl was on the ground begging to be saved. Doma noticed and grabbed his fan blades and slashes to the girl, and Shinobu quickly grabs her, but it was too late. She dies in Shinobu's arms. She exchanges him angrily if he remembers killing her sister, and he sees the butterfly brooch she's wearing and remembers, thinking it was a delightful interaction they had. They begin to fight. She's using her insect breathing, and him using his blood demon arc of frozen flower, freezing the air around her. She strikes him with her sword, poisoning him. Doma jumps back, surprised, shocked, and admiring her determination and admiration. He is feeling the poison, and his blood is coming out from his mouth, but he's healing fast from the poison. He is telling her to aim for the neck to actually kill him. He's not mocking her. He doesn't process emotion well, and doesn't understand that. She's sheathing her sword, and that has different poisons to attack him, talking about how she knows she is weak and not strong enough to behead a demon. She hits him again, and it flashback to his origin story, where he was born different and in a cult. He played along with his parents' belief that people believe that he can redeem them. Doma didn't care for any of it. He was just tired of listening to their sins. He played along just to take advantage of getting what he wanted. And it cuts back to the fight. Doma pulls out his fan blades, and it slashes through Shinobu, cutting her shoulder, collarbone, and one of her lungs, and her throat is clogged with her blood, and having a hard time breathing. She collapsed to the floor, having a flashback to what Tanjiro said to her of being angry. She was always angry and hiding it behind a facade, thinking of Aoi and those girls living with the pain of suffering and trauma of losing loved ones to demons and living without her. On her hands and knees, about to give up, she hears her sister and got a visit by her ghostly apparition, telling her to never give up. She gets up with one last fight and goes all out attacking Doma and throwing him to the ceiling, thinking she's won, falling to the ground, then got caught by Doma, emotionally and crying on how much she tried, brave and determined. He was saying he would end her suffering and for her to become a part of her, slowly being absorbed into him. And Canal comes running in and sees the horror upon her sight, with her master dying in front of her. And that's where this fight ends for now. I love that Doma got a lot of attention here. I love the animation during the battle, him throwing his ice attacks all over the place, him telling her to give it her all. Love the creepy look on his face, and the determination Shinobu has, wanting to take his life, and the sad backstory she has. She could have had a normal life, but rejected it for revenge. The next fight focuses on Zenitsu and the new Upper Six. Zenitsu is running through the castle with a calm, dead look on his face, looking for his old companion. And I just love the look on Zenitsu's face. He has murder on his mind, and he's ready to take a body. Zenitsu located the new Upper Six, telling him to come out and stop hiding like a coward. They are face to face. Zenitsu is confronting him, saying that he is stupid for becoming a demon, and telling him what happened to their adopted grandfather, where he got the letter, and the grandfather took his own life when he found out his student became a demon. And Zenitsu explained he died painfully and alone, and blamed it on him, and saying he has no shame, and the new Upper Six don't care, and always hated Zenitsu and Gramps, that he wanted to watch over Zenitsu. Then they started fighting, throwing lightning all over the place, and sword slashes. New Upper Six showing him new lightning attack that's affecting him and making fun of him for only learning the first lightning breathing technique, then continuing to strike him. And it shows us flashback of him explaining that he is weak and hating Zenitsu and bumping into Upper One with two options, die or become a demon, by giving him blood, explaining being strong, and if he drops a single drop of blood, he will die. Then he drinks it, and it cuts back to them fighting. Then the shot focuses on Upper Six's sword and the back of his head. When he pulls it out, it shows Zenitsu looking at him with a deadly stare, wanting him dead. He pushes Zenitsu down a shaft, thinking he won, and Zenitsu awakens his powerful move, zaps through, and beheads him, and causes Zenitsu to pass out, and both starts falling. It cuts to more of Zenitsu's backstory and companion. I don't know his real name and don't care to look it up, on how much Zenitsu looked up to him and respected him, and even defended him when anyone talks bad about him. He despises Zenitsu and hated Gramps and hated how Gramps put his attention on Zenitsu and hated him even more. Then it cuts back to them falling, and he yells how he stole that move, and Zenitsu says he invented it himself, and he thinks he'll get the last laugh because Zenitsu would die too, falling at that rate. And all of a sudden, Lady Tabano's assistant or helper, Yushio, comes falling down, telling him that he's pathetic and dying alone is pathetic. Like, goddamn, you don't need to roast him that much. And he catches Zenitsu going back up while he just fades away. And Yushio patches him up at a safe location, and a small group of demon slayers come to aid. And Zenitsu is in an afterlife vision with Gramps across the river yelling how sorry he was for not being there for him. But Gramps loves him and is grateful for him being there in his life, and telling him to go back. And that's where this fight ends. I wasn't there during that. I think that's what implied what Gramps says. I went to the bathroom around that time. Zenitsu was out for blood and was ready to catch a body. I was surprised that he created his own form. The animation for his fight was great. He was aura forming the whole time without breaking a sweat, and letting his screaming and yelling persona aside was nice. He's going to go back soon. The new episode 6 was taken out so quickly, and I didn't care much for him. I found it adorable and heartwarming and heartbreaking for Zenitsu to lose someone he loved and had to take someone out who he thought was family to him, making him pay for what he did. Now I'm ready to talk about the big fight, the one you all been waiting for. Tanjiro and Giyu versus Akaza. And they went all out for this one. Tanjiro and Giyu was running around in the castle looking for the others, and all of a sudden Akaza comes busting out of the walls, was about to hit and kill Tanjiro until he dodged it at the last second, and looked at him with the intent to murder, and at the same time complimenting him, saying that he is not weak, and talking about Rengoku. Tanjiro goes and tries to slash him, but he dodges it, and Giyu tries to sneak up on him from behind, but he senses him and dodges it. Giyu and Akaza goes all out fighting while the area around them shifts around and changes. They are on pillars and roofs. Akaza is throwing energy beams and slashes from his fist at Giyu, taking the hits, and Giyu unlocks his Demon Slayer marks and starts going all out, but has no effect. He's getting bloody and beaten, trying to keep up, and Tanjiro comes out of nowhere and tries to cut his head off, but Akaza senses it and tries to elbow him, but Tanjiro dodges it, and Akaza is surprised that he dodged it. And at the same time, Akaza is trying to talk to him, trying to get to know his name, but Giyu just wouldn't budge at all until Tanjiro just throws his name out of nowhere. And Akaza comes out and says, so that's his name, and tries to attack him at the same time, but Tanjiro dodges it too. Then he throws him into an empty room to expand the battlefield. Then Tanjiro says why he does what he does, and Akaza tells him he wants to get stronger and he hates the weak. That they have no place in this world. And Tanjiro replies back that the strong protects the weak, and the weak gets stronger and protects the weaker. And this shocks Akaza, and a ghost from his past puts his hand on his shoulder, and Akaza punches it and realizes nothing is there. Tanjiro is confused, and Akaza gets all mad and is reminded why he hates him. About to attack him, Giyu comes in and starts fighting him. And anytime Tanjiro tries to jump in, Akaza knows where he is at. And he starts to think, how does he know where he's going to attack from? And he figures out he has a sixth sense, a fighting sense. So he has a flashback talking to Inosuke on how to counteract this. And has another flashback with his father understanding the Sundance technique. And anytime Tanjiro attacks Akaza catches his sword with his bare hands, and Tanjiro gets thrown to the side, and Giyu tries again, but Akaza breaks his sword and almost about to kill Giyu with a punch to the stomach, and Tanjiro rushes fast and cuts his hand off, which pisses Akaza off, and he goes all out, activating his blood demon arc, and starts throwing punches everywhere with multiple copies of himself, while Tanjiro and Giyu tries blocking it. After the dust settles, Giyu is on his knees. Akaza walks up to him, telling him to give up. Everything around him couldn't survive and says Tanjiro is dead. While Tanjiro is walking up behind him with bloodshot eyes, Giyu thinking they'll get the drop on him. And Tanjiro just yells out he's going to behead Akaza. And Akaza jumps back in surprise and angry on how Tanjiro survived, and questioned that he managed to hide from his fighting sense. and Tanjiro manages to cut off his head. But Akaza wouldn't give up, catches his head, and yelling he has to get stronger and not to die right here. After everything, but Giyu throws his sword to the back of his head, throwing it to the ground, and fades. And they start thinking they won the battle. Tanjiro passes out, but all of a sudden, Akasa's body starts moving on its own towards Tanjiro's unconscious body. Giyu helplessly and weak, trying to figure out how to stop him. Akasa's body slowly regrowing his head, almost about to kill Tanjiro, but stopped to the ghost of Akasa's past, holding on to him, and he's thinking who they are. And it flashes back to Akasa's past of him stealing money and getting caught and beaten for stealing money, and getting tattoos of his crimes. He didn't care about getting beaten and being called a demon child. After they let him go, he goes walking back home, explains that he stole to try to get his father a better life. But after hearing that his father took his own life, after what he heard what his son has did, distraught and angry, he started taking his anger out on others. And all of a sudden, his new master, I forgot his name, with a smile on his face, talks to him about how much fighting spirit he has, and tells him to do his best against him. Akaza didn't care what he has to say, and goes to hit him, but gets knocked out quick. And the dojo master decided to take him in, and tells him he's down on his luck, a rival dojo that doesn't like him, that his wife is no longer around, and has a daughter that is sick. He introduces them to each other, and told him to take care of her. Over the years, Akaza started to take care of her. He tries his best to train to get stronger and take care of her, and she keeps saying she's sorry, and he hates when people say they are sorry for something they have no control over. And she always wanted to see the fireworks that the nearby village does once a year. By the time they were adults, she was all better and no longer sick, and Akaza is happier, and they are getting married by getting the blessings from her father. Sometime later, he made his way back to his home village and talked to his father's grave to tell him that he's getting married, and he's never been this happy in his life. On his way back to the dojo, he heard the news that his soon-to-be wife and father-in-law has been killed. Akaza, hit with grief, distraught and angry, looking over the bodies when he learned that the rival dojo poisoned the water well that they drink from. He lost it, losing a part of himself, don't know who he is anymore. Blinded by rage, later that night, he walked into the rival dojo with a dead-look stare on his face. He started murking everybody in there, punching faces, tearing limbs, and breaking bones. It's a bloodbath. After the incident, not satisfied, doesn't feel a thing. He doesn't care if he gets caught, limping his way to nowhere, and he stumbles across Muzan. That was surprised that a human did all that damage. Akaza told him to get out of his way, and tries to attack, but Muzan blazed through and put his hand through his face, and told him he's putting together a powerful group of demons and wants him to be a part of it. Akaza didn't care at all, and told him to do whatever he wants. And his life as a human was over, and his life as a demon begun. It cuts back to the present in the castle with Akaza's headless body stumbles around to try to kill Giyu and Tanjiro. Tanjiro finally wakes up and sees what's going on. The ghosts of Akaza's past are reminding him who he is. He is struggling to know who he is and who he was. Being reminded and manipulated by Muzan, his goal is to get stronger. His body goes out for an all-out attack. Tanjiro and Giyu is struggling to find cover, but he attacks himself, saying he doesn't want to regenerate. But with a vision of his father-in-law, and wife, he remembers who he was, sorry to them all, saying he can't cross to heaven for the things he's did, and they say they will always be with him. And Akaza fades away, with his battle finally over. Giyu and Tanjiro passes out, thankful the battle is over. Doma got concerned, worried, and saddened for that Akaza passed, but forgot it, and didn't care if it mattered that much to him. Then he focuses on his battle. Upper One, disappointed in Akaza, for dying, saying that Akaza wanted to get stronger and to take him out. And Muzan angry, thinking that the Demon Slayers has the upper hand because they killed Upper 3, and that's where the movie ends. My god, they went all out on this. I loved the Akaza fight. His backstory was heartbreaking. It made me feel bad for him. Maybe he's in a better place, but he doesn't have to feel the pain working for Muzan. The things I don't like about this movie, and it isn't much, I didn't care for the new Upper 6. Muzan replaced Upper 4 and 6. He didn't care for 5, but with Zenitsu's companion and the guitar lady, and the movie felt way too long. I just feel like some parts in the backstories lingered on too much. I started to feel tired around the last 30 minutes. The things I love is pretty much everything. Seeing Shinobu's past, losing her sister is hurtful. Getting to see more of Doma and his fighting style. Zenitsu looking to confront his rival and to murk him. Tanjiro and Giyu versus Akaza was great, and his backstory was heartbreaking. Akaza better count himself lucky that he didn't run into Guillaume, or he would have been shitting bricks. Every demon in upper rank would have been terrified of Guillaume, except for Upper One and Muzan. And I do like the small moments with Kagaya's kids and the Demon Slayer members. This is the final chapter of Demon Slayer. The anime is over. They will probably chop this movie up and release it episodically. The Infinity Castle arc will have 3 movies. This is the first one. The second one will focus on Inosuke and Kanao versus Indoma. Genya, Sanemi, Mauricio, and Guillaume versus an Upper One. And thrown in Sanemi's past. It will focus on his side of the story, and Upper One's backstory too. In part 3, the final movie will focus on Muzan and his past of Yoichi, and probably more of Obanai and his backstory, and Nezuko. The release date for the second movie is unknown as of right now, but it's speculated to release around early 2027. Other than that, I think the movie is a 9 out of 10, but just because some of the backstories just lingered on too much. Tell me in the comments what do you think. That's all I have for now. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all later.